Zombie apocalypse.
Welcome back, everybody. It's DJ Numismatics with a multi-denomination hunt again here. Banks are still sitting on a lot of uncirculated stuff, so I had to go all over the place to find some coin today. And I came up with 18 rolls of circulated nickels, 20 rolls of circulated pennies, 3 rolls of halves, and 8 rolls of quarters. I think only 2 of those rolls are circulated, so I think what we'll do, let me get all this stuff moved out of the way, and we'll start in those quarters. And I'll bring you in on my finds. Thanks for joining me. See you soon. Well, I got through all the quarters and all the halves, and like always on the uncirculated quarters, I didn't find nothing worth anything. And the halves, they were just the same. So I pulled out those 20 rolls of copper cents, and let's see if we can find something interesting. I'll bring you in on my first find. Well, we're on roll 6 of the pennies, and finally I've got a find. And that is a pretty crusty 1945 wheat cent out of Philly. We're on roll number 8 of the pennies, and we got our first foreign in the box. For the first time, it's not a Canadian. And that is a Central Bank of the Philippines. 1 centavo, 1962. That's the first ever that I've ever found. I don't know what the value on something like that is, but pretty cool find. We're on roll 11, and we're going to have our second foreign of the box, and that is a 1964 young head out of Canada. Roll 12, and we're going to have our second Canadian, and that's a 1986. I'm on roll 13, and I just came across something pretty crazy. I don't know if this is an actual mint error or some kind of post-mint damage, but if you look at this 1983 Denver, it sure looks like it's missing the copper layer. If you look really close at it, I don't know if you'll be able to see it. It's got some pretty crazy, almost like splatters across it. I don't have my scale right now to weigh this thing, so I'm not exactly sure if this is mint damage or post-mint damage. It's definitely a circulated coin, so I don't know. Tell me what you think it might be in the comments below. We're on roll 16 of the pennies, and we're going to have wheat cent number 2, and that is a, not that one, sorry about that, 1955 out of Denver. 2 wheat cents in the hunt. We're on roll 19, and we're going to have our third Canadian of the hunt, and that would be a 2001. Well, we're on roll 20, and our last find of the hunt is going to be a 1982 Canadian. Let me lay out the finds, and we'll do a wrap up on these pennies. Well, on the pennies, we got those 5 foreigns, the 4 Canadians, and the coolest one I think out of the whole box was that 1 centavo in 1962 from the Philippines. We got the 1955D wheat cent, that crazy looking 83D, the 45 wheat, and then I got 3 S mints, a 70, a 74, and a 68. And if you're new to my videos, they're I pull and keep all my 68 through 74 S minted Lincoln cents. Not a whole lot of finds, but a few. So let's go ahead and move on to 18 rolls of nickels, and I'll be pulling out any nice looking nickels to check against the album, and hopefully we can fill some slots. Let me get these pennies out of the way, and we'll start with roll number 1. We're on roll 3, and we're gonna have our first oldies find, and that's a 1957 out of Denver. We're on roll 6, and we got another 50s find. That's a 1953 out of Denver. We're on roll number 9, and we have got a 1939, oldest Jefferson of the box so far, out of Philadelphia. I'll throw it under the scope, and if we find the double Monticello, I'll bring you back in. Same roll, and we've got a 1958 out of Philly. Same roll, and we have a 1955 out of Philadelphia. That is a semi-key date, and by the looks of the back there, that definitely has a lamination error on it, or strike through, one of the two. Pretty cool find. I just put that 55 under the scope. If you look along the edge, this thing, let's see if I can get this to focus. You can see the grease striations all around the side, and the lettering is almost impossible to read. So this thing was struck through a ton of grease. Even in Liberty, and then the 1955 is even hard to read because of so much grease. Watch, and I'll flip it over. The back side is even worse. I thought at first maybe it was just age and deterioration, but this thing was struck through a ton of grease. And then the strike through itself, let's see if I can find it again. You can see right here, it must have been struck through some kind of cloth or something. Pretty cool. Pretty sad being a key date being in this horrible shape though. Roll 12, and we're going to have our first foreign in the box. And that is a 1984 Canadian Beaver. Well, I just unwrapped roll 13, and we had an ender. You can see the crimper kiss there. And that's a 1956 out of Denver. Roll 14, and we've got another 50s find, and that's another 1957 out of Denver. Pretty beat up. We're on the last and final roll, and it's not a major find, but somebody decided, I don't even know what date this is, it looks like a 1995. Decided to put a hole through Jefferson's head there. Hopefully the coin sorter won't reject it. And it looks dirty, but it's old. And that's a 1948 out of Denver. I'll finish up this roll and bring it back in. Well, I finished up that last roll with nothing else in it. So we came across a 84 Canadian, 39 Philadelphia, 1 from the 40s, 6 from the 50s, including that 55 that's been struck through grease. And then I've got some 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s to check against my album. Let me go ahead and pull out my albums and we'll see if we can get any upgrades. It's looking like on this page here, albeit only slightly, that 77D is in. Wait a minute, maybe I'm looking at the wrong one. Make sure that's a D. There we go. It is slightly better. Let me pop that one out and we'll upgrade it. On this page, it's looking like, if you look at the fields around Jefferson, those ones had some grease strike through them. Plus he's got slightly better hair detail. We'll be able to upgrade that one. Well, we weren't able to upgrade anything out of this 38 through 61, so best finds of the hunt were that 55 with the grease strike. I think that's semi-key date, I'm not positive, but the 84 Canadian, losing 5 cents, and the 39 Monticello. That one was close to being an upgrade, but not quite. So I hope you enjoyed this coin hunt, and as always, I'll post a link above for my eBay page if you're interested in any coins with varieties on them. I have quite a few of them on there for pretty relatively reasonable prices. And on a low note, I had to sell some of my collectible coins this week. But on a high note, the guy agreed to go to his bank, or called his bank I should say, and they've got boxes of nickels and pennies that he can pick up. Plus they have quite a few half dollars too, so hopefully we'll get some new boxes to search. Well, like always, stay safe out there, and tomorrow's New Year's Eve, so Happy New Year all, and thanks for joining me, and as always, happy hunting.